Yeah, hi everybody. It's Ryan with you all again. Day out here in at the Pilot in Hesperia, California, just south of Victorville. Got a little bit behind on the videos. Been a couple weeks. My wife and I had our second son back on Valentine's Day. Then I did change companies, different brokers, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Which I wanted to do a video a little bit kind of before I did the change, but everything just kind of happened pretty quick. And I was at Mercer Transportation before. If some of you have watched prior videos, that's where I'm coming from. And now I'm back over at Landstar, which I was at Landstar before. Then I tried Mercer out, and you know, as I said in my prior videos, I mainly, when I left Landstar, it wasn't because of anything on their end or my end or anything like that, or the money. It was me because at the time I was turning in that lease truck, and I decided to do something local, and that was the reason. I mean, I should have just went to Landstar in the first place because you know, I knew I liked it, and everything was, you know, was pretty good on both ends, you know, with Landstar and myself. But like I said, I've seen Mercer and kind of want to give them a try. But I kind of compiled a little list. As you can see, this would be the pros and this is the cons. So the cons list, you know, is quite a bit longer, and I kind of put this together, and that made my decision, you know, kind of why I wanted to go ahead and pull the trigger on leaving Mercer. But I guess I'll go ahead and get started. I mean, kind of telling you, like I said, originally when I was still at Mercer, I wanted to do a video and kind of give everybody my experience, but like I said, it kind of I was kind of putting this list together, and then there was a little dispute over a trailer inspection, and I'll get into that with one of the cons later down the road here in a minute. But I'll jump right into it with the pros, the good things, and the reasons I went there. And I make a lot of comparisons to Landstar with a lot of this stuff. So if you're at Landstar and you're thinking about leaving, these kind of be some things to consider, the differences between the two. But other than that, I'll start off with the pros as to why I went there. The most attractive thing there is they pay 75%, which is, you know, a pretty good part of the revenue. 75% plus the surcharge, 100% fuel surcharge. 75% of 99%, because they take 1% off the top, and they use that for your bobtail insurance and cargo insurance and all that, so you don't have to pay any of that. So that's attractive. So you're getting about 74% plus the surcharge. So that's, I mean, not too bad if the rates are decent. Also with that, like I said, you don't pay for that unladen bobtail and cargo insurance. They cover that. And if you're getting your comprehensive insurance there for your truck, it's pretty reasonable too. I think I had my truck valued at $40,000, 2013 Kenworth T660, and I was paying, I want to say, right about $140, $150 a month. So it's not too bad. I mean, like over at the Landstar, if you're going through Gallagher or something like that, they're a lot more expensive. I know at Landstar now, I use First Guard, and I'm actually a little bit cheaper than I was with this truck. I'm like at $136 a month with First Guard over here at Landstar now. But so the insurance is pretty reasonable. Like I said, you don't have to pay for some of the stuff you would at some of the other guys. The other thing that's attractive, I mean, their onboarding, kind of recruiting, the onboarding process is pretty quick. I mean, I think once I got it, I called a recruiter, talked to him, and thought I wanted to give it a try. I got everything together, everything sent in, and I mean, within, I think it was 2 or 3 days, I mean, I had everything together and a green light and ready to go to orientation. And I know with Landstar, if any of you all came over here, even me coming back, you know, leaving on a good note and coming back over, it still took a couple weeks to get everything. They're kind of slow with onboarding people at Landstar. But like I said, Mercer was pretty quick. The other big thing there at Mercer is when you go to orientation, you come out of there you got to go to Louisville, Kentucky. That's the only place they do orientation. That's their headquarters. That's where the yard is, and I'll get into that on the con side as well. But down there, they got all their trailers there. That's where everybody, when people quit, you have to bring the trailers back there. So they've got a large, I mean, both whether you're going to do flatbed, if you're going to do flatbed, they got a pretty good lease purchase program, because I was actually looking at doing flatbed when I went there. I was going to start with van, then kind of build up a little bit of cash, and then switch over to flatbed once I got back into it. And for some, like, I went over there in September 19 last year, and right after that, like October, like the flat, I mean, if any of you flatbed guy, you flatbed guys are out there, the from what I've heard, a lot of people, the market for flatbed just tanked. So I ended up staying van. Then with them, they'll let you switch back and forth, which is another con I'll get into in a second. But yeah, so unlike a lot of places, like if you come over to Landstar and you go to orientation, you got to go through trailer utilization, and it could take you a couple days or a week or something to get a, coming out of orientation to get a new trailer, or any trailer for that matter. And some places, like if you go down to Laredo or Texas, some places, and you lose, if you do a drop and hook and you don't come out with an empty, I mean, you might lose a trailer down in those places for like 2 weeks. I mean, that's on with Landstar anyways. But so it's kind of nice having a guaranteed trailer, but on the other side of that, you pay for the trailer there. So, and that's why they're giving you a little bit more on the percentage side. So that's the trailer. EFS, they use EFS for their fuel card. They give you a MasterCard, so you can actually use it anywhere, just like a credit card. But their discounts they're pretty good discounts. They're about the same as what Landstar's are. I've noticed their discounts usually at Pilot Flying J and Love's were a little bit better than TA and Petro, which I like. The TA and Petro is a little bit better. So I know Landstar's discount is a little bit better at the TAs and Petros. Nate, we use the comm data back over here at Landstar, but so it's not too bad. So that was a good benefit. One of the really attractive things that was nice over there was they pay you after every load. So a lot of places they pay you once a week, and you got a certain date you got to get your paperwork in. Like here at Landstar, come back over here, I get paid on Wednesdays for all my loads, as long as I have the paperwork in by Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. But a lot of times they'll, even if you get the stuff in on Tuesday, you'll still get paid. But it's nice, I mean, because I do longer loads, so I might only do one load a week, but it'll be a $5,000 or $6,000 load. So if you miss that, then you might not get paid. If you're on a weekly deal, you might not get paid for an extra week, and it depends on what you have to do. That could be a problem. So it's nice knowing that they do direct deposit. That's free over there at Mercer. So you get your load in, and usually the next day you get paid for it. It's in your bank account. You get paid. So that's a nice feature. And they do have nationwide. I mean, they got freight all over the country, longer haul stuff, which I like to do. So it's not. I know when I worked for Snyder as an owner-operator, most of their stuff was east of I-35, which I have no desire to. I try to get out of that part of the country as quick as possible. So that was one of the reasons that didn't work out for me over there. But yeah, kind of like with Landstar, they Mercer, they're nationwide for the most part. So, and actually, some of the parts of the country, I mean, and coming out of California and like the Pacific Northwest, I've always done. I mean, with Mercer, I did pretty well. I mean, the rates were pretty decent, even from what I've seen at Landstar. But that's kind of all the good stuff. Now, kind of get into the cons. And once I came back over to Landstar, I noticed the rates, because every year at Landstar we get 65% plus surcharge. So it works out, once you throw the surcharge in, normally, I mean, you get about 70-71%. So I mean, if you think over at Mercer getting 74% basically plus surcharge, I mean, I'd be closer to like 77-78. But my first load I took was a load of cabinets, and it's a Warner FM, I think, account. So it's and I had done Mercer loads that was under the same account, so we're essentially working for the same customer. And I seen this last load I did, it paid 50 cents more, so it didn't really make sense to me. Okay, you're offering, I'm just supposedly getting 10 cents more on the line haul at Mercer, but I'm getting 10% less over here at Landstar, and from the same customer on the same lanes within a couple weeks of each other, I'm getting 50 cents more a mile. And that's that's on a 2,000 mile load, which I just did. It was 2,200. It was from Indiana, one stop in Colorado up by Denver, then a stop in Sparks. So it was 2 stops, cabinets. I mean, it was $3 a mile. So I mean, on 2,000 miles, 50 cents, you're, $1,000. That's all in your pockets. So that didn't really make sense to me, because I know, like, on the Landstar board, they show you like what they're charging the customer. So what you see on there is not what you get. So you got to do the math on the line haul and figure out what your part is. So, but everything's up front for the most part, so you know what they're getting charged. Now at Mercer, they just show you what you're getting, so you don't really know what that actual. I'm not insinuating that they could, but they could. If they're not really showing you what the actual rate is or what they're charging a customer, I guess 75% could be whatever they want it to be. So that's something to think about. But I did notice, looking at back on the Landstar board now, we had 50,000 loads on the board today, and kind of looking through stuff out here, and I just noticed that the rates, even though you're getting less, they seem higher. Mercer, they utilize load coordinators down there. They work out of Louisville. They're there from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and they kind of help you get loads. They're with the Mercer load board, you can't set up any alerts or anything, so you're pretty much relying on this person, unless you're watching the board yourself, because you can select loads on the board, but I can't set up a search for like these 3 days from the 12th to the 15th coming out of this area and going out to California or wherever, and have it set up to where to send me an email alert, so I know when it comes on the board. So I think there's so you're relying on this coordinator who's supposed to be watching this board for you, and you kind of tell them what you want. And I know for me, when I went through 2 different coordinators, because I went through one guy and I kind of got into a little bit of a dispute with him over a Canadian load coming out of California, because he didn't have all my length and all this stuff in the system. So I had an agent that called me and offered me a load, and she said, oh yeah, it's your load, you got it, we'll take care, because it was California time, and the coordinators and everybody in Louisville was already gone after 5 p.m. on a Friday. So she's like, well, yeah, we'll get everything taken care of Monday morning, and we'll get you dispatched out. And but it turned into a big mess towards, there's another guy that's got it, and I was like, well, she already told me. Dude, I ended up getting the load, but then like he wouldn't talk to me, he wouldn't call me, like. So I said, if you're going to be childish about this and all that, I'll just switch to somebody else, because I didn't want to quit at that point, but I wanted to give it a chance. So I ended up getting another coordinator, a female, and when I initially kind of had a phone conversation, introduction with her, I kind of laid out like what I like to do. There's a lot of responsibility with owning a truck, and the reason I do this is because versus being an operator, for one, you can make a lot more money, but two, I like to control my schedule. I like to run nights. There's certain parts of the country I don't want to go to. Florida, that whole southeast corner. I'm not a big fan of Texas, and the Northeast, obviously. But and I kind of laid her out. If I'm coming out of the house, I want a 2,000 mile run going west. If not, I'll wait. But you're gonna call me out of the house, and I'm not gonna go to Atlanta, Georgia. I'm just not gonna do it. I have no desire to do that. So. And with the extra responsibility and all that you have in owning a truck and running your own business, I believe that's my decision to make. So with the coordinators, like I said, every time that she called me, it was something that I told her from day one I'm not going to do, and then you're kind of powerless because you don't have. I know if you've been at Landstar, and I keep going back to that, or if you know anything about it, I can set up 10 searches with email alerts where I can get, play-by-play. As soon as they're posted on the board, I get an email, so I can see it, and within 30 seconds, I can hit the hyperlink and call this agent, and have, if it's available, I can book it right there on the spot. It ain't a big deal. But with them, you do not have the ability to, unless you're watching the load board, or if you got a good coordinator who's looking out for you. There could be great loads on there that you want to do all day long, and they'll be on there and gone, and you won't even know what happened. So that's I think and like I said, if you're a person that wants somebody else to take care of that side of it for you, and you don't mind, it might not be a bad place for you. But what I kind of saw with them is they kind of, because my dad was over at Mercer too, and he ended up leaving as well, and he was kind of letting the coordinator run him. and they will kind of push you around places where they have customers and freight they're trying to move that may not be beneficial to you. I mean, yeah, because they're getting their percentage anyways. The agents are getting their percentage, and you know, 10%, it's 10% or whatever, you know, they're making, or 24%. You know, that's whether it's $100 or $1,000, you know, they're still getting their cut. So whereas I've seen in some cases where they were trying to send me, and the places they were sending my dad, it's not going to Florida for $1.20 or $1.30 a mile, then trying to get a load out of Florida for 80 cents. I mean, if you're gonna take a load for $1.20 and you go somewhere where you're gonna get a $2.50 a load, I mean, more power to you. But I'm not gonna take a crappy rate to go somewhere even crappier. So I mean, yeah, sometimes you gotta bite the bullet and go somewhere you don't want to go, but then you can get something decent after that. But I didn't really see that. They just kind of keep moving you where they had customers that they needed to move the freight, and it's not always beneficial to the driver or the owner. But that's coordinators. The other thing I didn't like, their office, yard, entire HQ operations, all that is in downtown Louisville, Kentucky. There are low bridge, like there's like 2 bridges that you can go under. If you kind of go if you come off the main road to get down there, there's like low bridges everywhere, 12-foot bridges. So and then it's like little city blocks. Everything's all chopped up. It's not like they got this building over here at this block, this building, this yard over here at this other block. And there's one-way streets, and it's just then you got people driving around. It's just, in my opinion, it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I don't know why you base a trucking company on, you know, little plots of city blocks in downtown. I don't know why you would just sell it, move out of town, buy 150, 200 acres and just have a big yard where everybody can park and everything else. Even where they had a nice little driver's center, or you know, with showers and all that, but where you had the parking there, I mean, if you were bobtailing, you had to like double park. So then you got a guy come up knocking your door asking you to leave, and then you got to ask them to leave, and it's just it was just I don't like it. I didn't like it at all. So I mean, that's yeah. So I don't know why, if you're a growing company or something, why you would have stayed down there. So that's just my opinion, but it's just kind of a hassle down there. So keep that in mind. Yeah, a lot of people talk about too, you probably see a lot of reviews, is their dispatching system. They work on supposedly a first in, first out, to where if a driver comes into an area and he's been sitting there for 2 or 3 days empty, then if I show up, like say I come out of Ohio, I run out to California, I get there, I want to get a load and get back. So there's a guy been sitting at his house for 3 or 4 days. He's gonna get, even though by choice, they could have called him, or he could have had 15 loads, you know, get offered to him, and he's declined every one of them. Then since he's got that built up that time, he's able to soak up and take whatever, you know, jump ahead of anybody else. So I think they say it's the fairest load board in the industry and all this, and I don't really think it's, if people know how to work the system, where if you know if you've been here for a while, you know where the loads are at, and you're willing to go somewhere and sit for 2 or 3 days for a load, and if you want to keep moving and you're aggressive, it's not a good place to be. So I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of, I mean, there was only a couple times, I mean, because I usually book pretty far out with the types of loads I do. But if you're somebody that's kind of doing shorter haul, booking a load every day or 2 days, where you're only, you know, where you can't really predict out how far you're going to be. I mean, I can usually predict out a week out, so I'm trying to book loads a week, 10 days out. So I usually, when a load came on the load board, there wasn't anybody else going after that board or that load, or going after that load, or had been offered it, so I usually could get it pretty quick. So that's one method you can use. But if you're trying to do stuff daily, do loads daily or every 2 days, and there's other guys in the area, you could be, I've heard a lot of complaints about it, but I don't really think it's that fair. So I think it should be first come, first serve. If you see it and you make the call, and you're willing to accept it, and you're on top of your stuff, then it should be your load. But so that's that. The trailer, which I talked about, having a guaranteed trailer as a pro. Downside of that, you're paying about $600. You pay for the trailer. You pay $620 a month, and they take that out. It's like $20 a day. That, like, say if you've been on a load for 5 days, and then you settle it, they settle out after that load. Like I said, you get paid the next day. then they'll take $100 out at that time for those 5 days on the trailer. So that's it's something kind of to weigh, whether you want that extra 9-10% versus somebody else where you get a free trailer. Excuse me. With that, they have there's not a whole lot of drop and hooks. So if you like doing drop and hooks, it's probably not a good place to come. Most of it's live loads from my experience. I mean, I think I did in 6 months, I did 5 or 6 drop and hooks. So at my first week back at Landstar, I did 4. So you know, shorter stuff around back with right after we had our son there. We kind of want to stay around the house, but there's a lot of, they got a lot more trailers and a lot more trucks on the road, so there's a lot more drop and hooks. So that's something to keep in mind. One of the most frustrating things for me is I drive at nights, I drive weekends, and I work holidays, and they do not work any of those times. If you pretty much after 5 o'clock, you're not going to be booking any freight. The agents, they won't answer their phones, and if you get the after hours, the guy that works on the weekends, especially Saturdays, he kind of sounds like a younger guy. He is a total jerk. He's like, why are you calling me? Like, why are you disturbing me? You know, and I was like, it's your job to answer the phone. I mean, but even my dad had when he called in on a Saturday once or twice and was trying to get some info, and a guy kind of gave him an attitude, and whatever, if you don't like your job, then leave. But so that's even with maintenance problems on the weekends and late at night. I think until like 1 or 2 a.m. Eastern, they have like a call service type thing, but they're completely worthless. I mean, I went and picked up a drop and hook down in San Antonio. They got a Carrier air conditioning account down there, which someone in there picked up a trailer, and it had a flat tire on it. Luckily I was only like 2 miles from the Loves, and I was able to just drive slow over there, and they ended up it had a big gash in the tire anyways, but they replaced it. And I called in, like, the guy's like, oh yeah, you better figure it out soon, because you know it goes to answering service, and you're not gonna be able to get a hold of anybody. And ended up at the Loves over there, ended up just paying for it with my credit card, and they, you know, took care of it the next day, but you know, I had to get reimbursed and all that. So it's just kind of a hassle that, you know, if you're a company that's got 2,000 trucks on the road, you know, this is 7 days a week, 365, 24 hours a day. You think there would be somebody dedicated there to handle things, but there's not. So, and holidays, like especially over Christmas, New Year's, they go home early. All the agents go home early. They take off like 3 days. I think like between Christmas and New Year, they were gone for like 3 days. I mean, it's like, come on. I mean, this just because there's a holiday, we don't stop moving. Food don't stop going to grocery stores. Walmart don't stop stocking their shelves. I mean, it just blew my mind that you know, with that having 2,000 trucks, that there's nobody there. So that's a big pro to me. Trailer inspections, truck inspections, 6 months for your trailer and truck inspections, and every other inspection you have to take to Louisville, Kentucky. So if you're somebody that's like lives in Seattle and you don't come off the West Coast much, once a year you're going to have to go down there and get your truck inspected, and a trailer. I mean, if you keep a trailer, you're going to have to get your trailer inspected down there once. So that could be a hassle for some people, even for me, because I rarely, even though I live up by, you know, Cleveland, Akron, Ohio area, which isn't too far, 5.5 hours, but with the lanes that I've typically ran, I don't run through there that much. So it almost have to be like a special trip for me to go down there, even though I'm kind of in the area. So that's kind of a hassle. And with inspections, they have, for your other inspection, the one that you don't have to go to Louisville, Kentucky for, you have to go to one of their approved sites. So it's not like, I know here with Landstar, you can pretty much go to like any TA or Petro, TA truck service, which they're everywhere, so it's not that big of a deal. But they have like one site per state. Some states don't even have one site. So I mean, especially like out in the wide open spaces out west, I mean, if they'll put you out of service too. So if you're, you know, close to overdue or something, or if you are in an out of service situation, they won't let you book any loads. I mean, you might have to run 500-600 miles out of the way for free to get a trailer inspection or a truck inspection. So it's just not again, very convenient for people out here that are on the road and running and trying to keep moving. So I mean, you think they'd be into a bigger network, you know, somebody, even the Bosch shops. I mean, where there was more, like they do have a Bosch shop and some TAs, but it's not like you can go to any TA or Petra. You have to go like to, there's like literally one per state, and like I said, a couple states don't have any. I think Ohio might have 2 or 3 sites, because there's, you know, we got a lot of highways and a lot of freight going through there. But some of the states don't have any, so that is a problem. With the trailers, even though you're paying for the trailer, you have to get it greased every 60 days, and you can pretty well take it anywhere for that, but you'll usually have to pay out of pocket and they'll reimburse you. But I don't know why there's 10 grease fittings if the landing gear on the trailer have grease fittings, but on the running gear itself there's 8 grease fittings, and I don't know why. I mean, you can't just do it yourself and, you know, take pictures or something and send them in, but they want you to take it somewhere. And like, if you watch my other videos, I hate going to shops. It's just this trailer, this Landstar trailer, I've got a load going up to Canada out here out of California, and it's a hazmat load. So I had 2 tires that they had some wear spots on them where there was no tread left, so I just wanted to get them changed out. And I was down here in Sparks at the Petra there at that truck service, just Sunday morning, in which I didn't have anything to do. I had time because I was doing I got there a day early, and I was doing delivery Monday morning. But I was in there 6 hours to get 2 tires changed. So I mean, it's just it's just an aggravation. I don't want to take anything to the shop unless I have to, and I hate sitting there and waiting to get 10 grease fittings greased, where it actually takes 15 minutes to do a job, if that, and you might be sitting there waiting for 2 or 3 hours or longer. So it's just an inconvenience. And they'll put you out of service for that too if you get overdue on that, for not getting those grease, you know, getting the trailer greased. So something else to keep in mind. Truck inspections. Also with the trailer, like I said, if you quit and you're one of those guys that, like I said, lived in Seattle or something, and you don't run out here much, and you quit the company, and I don't know, whatever, maybe you lose the truck, whatever, God knows what can happen out here, I mean, with this business. But when you quit, that trailer has to be taken back to Louisville, Kentucky. So it isn't like, you know, if you work for Snyder, you can take it to a Snyder Center, or sometimes even one of their customers, or Landstar, they've been sending people out to pick them up. I mean, so when I left Landstar the first time, I asked them if they wanted me to take it to Indianapolis or anything, and they're like, no, we'll have somebody come pick it up, they'll have a new driver come pick it up. And so I didn't have to even go anywhere. But like I said, if you're coming from somewhere way out west or something, you're gonna go to Mercer and you're gonna quit or something, be advised. I mean, you're gonna have to bring that all the way back here, or back to Louisville. The other thing was their freight base. For the loads that I like to do, and up in my area in Akron, Cleveland, I know Landstar, they have one of their best agents is up in that area, and I never have a problem getting good West Coast loads out of where I live at with Landstar. With Mercer, I usually had to drive 300-400 miles for some reason. Go to Indiana, up in New York to do the loads that I wanted with the pay that I wanted. There was like nothing in my area, so I don't know if their agent there just sucks, or if Landstar's got it all sewed up. But that was another big pro, that I couldn't get anything decent like within 50-100 mile radius. I was going 300 or 400, even 500 miles to get what I wanted. So. And with that, their agents, they don't have a lot of agents. I think they have 90 agents nationwide, where Landstar has like 1,200. So you got a lot more people at Mercer, you have a lot less people out there on the ground drumming up business per se. So that's maybe that's why, like I said, that's in my area, because if you get a bad agent there, then obviously you're not going to have the good freight. So also with the agents, I know at Landstar, you call the agents for everything. That's pretty much the loads or interaction between you and them. You don't really deal with corporate Landstar at all, just other than they just kind of facilitate the pay and they run the load board. But the agents post the loads. You call the agents and you go over the rates, what it is, and you know, you want it, okay, yeah, I'll take it, and you know, they'll send you a rate com and you're good to go. Where Mercer, everything's more centralized, and a lot of I kind of came up with Mercer or Landstar, and so I was kind of used with calling an agent, kind of getting all the details of the business, you know, where how what the customers like, and all that type of stuff. I found with Mercer, a lot of the agents, they're kind of arrogant, I guess you could say. They act like they don't want to talk to drivers, so I had a couple of them actually called it when I was actually working on their business, had their loads, and I called to ask questions about a customer, because I usually, as a courtesy, I don't like to just directly call the customer. I'd rather try to go to the agent. And they actually like, who's your coordinator? And then sends me, transfers me over to my load coordinator, who doesn't know nothing other than looking at the computer, like looking at the same thing that I'm looking at, and on the contractor web, Mercer contractor web. So that was kind of frustrating, because I don't want to go through 3 other people. I want to go straight to, get right from the horse's mouth, So that's kind of frustrating when you're calling somebody that's their business and they won't talk to you. They have their own, like, I don't know if you've been at Landstar or heard about Landstar. They have LCAP, which is kind of a contractor purchasing program. That's where your fuel discounts are through, tire discounts, truck discounts, all kinds of stuff like that. And Mercer has the same thing. They call it Impact, and it's kind of limited, and they're kind of, as far as, like, if you want to, I bought a set of tires and I just wanted to get the discount, and I didn't want to run it. I didn't want to pay, I had the money. I didn't want to pay the payment or anything. And they send you like this contract thing you sign, and like you gotta call them and make arrangements, and they actually charge. I think they charge, like, if you're gonna borrow money through them, they charge you, I think, like a $60. I've never done it, but I can't remember exact numbers, but I think it was like $60 administration fee, and they charge you 5 or 6% interest and all this other stuff, or so much per payment. So they were kind of tight. From what I've heard from other drivers, they're kind of tight with it. They won't, if you're a newer driver and all that, they won't work with you a whole lot. So so keep that in mind. If you're gonna go there and you got a major breakdown or something and you need money to borrow money from, I wouldn't, if you've been there a month or two, I wouldn't be expecting to borrow 10 grand or anything. Like I said, I bought a set of Michelin steer tires, and the discount, because they're not as big as a lot of guys, but their discount wasn't that great. I think I got like $60 or $75 off, each tire from Michelin. So I got down at the TA there in Eloy, Arizona. I got 2 Michelins, 16 ply steers. I had the centremic balancers put on both sides, and it was like little over $1,800. So I thought that was a little on the high side for going through a like a national tire account myself. And I've gotten better deals with Snyder and with Landstar. I was usually getting $100 to $150 off per tire, so I was getting 3-4 times off what I got with Mercer. So it's there, but it's not that good of a program, I don't think, that they have. And with that, and this is kind of the last thing, I've heard with that program, if they have older drivers there, or drivers that have been with them longer, and they end up owing them a bunch of money. Like I said, it's a hearsay. I can't say it's true, but it kind of makes sense from a couple of the interactions and experiences I had, is that they might push somebody else onto a load. There might be a load that you wanted, like $6,000 load or something's going cross country that pays really good, and they might have another guy in the area that might owe them $5,000, and they need to get their money. They want to get their money back, because it seems like that was a big deal with that thing. Is that with that impact program, is that they want their money back pretty quick. And it was, I don't know. It was just a little rigid, I guess you could say. But I had a couple drivers that have told me, like, if they got a guy that owes them money, then they will kind of feed them loads or better loads. So I can't. Was just what I heard, and I had a couple experiences where I think that might have been the case. So that's just something else out there. It's hearsay-ish, but yeah. But yeah, my overall experience, the last straw for me, it was I was kind of looking at making the move. I was going to wait up until later in March, April, when when the weather kind of got better and everything kind of broke and rates started going back up, as they usually do in the spring. But like I said in the beginning, we had our second son. He was born on Valentine's Day, and I was on a load coming back from the West Coast. I was trying to get back, and I had a load going down. I got a load from California to Texas, and I went from Texas down to Kentucky, and I was down there at the my trailer was due for a service, so they was getting ready to put me out of service for that, and my it was due for an inspection. It was getting close on inspection, so I called up my coordinator. I was like, hey, I'm gonna be down here. I was down at the Petro down south of Louisville, and they got a TA down there. But so I was en route over to over by Lexington. But with the timing of the appointment and everything, I would have just went up through Louisville if I would have had a couple extra hours, but I didn't have time to run back up through there. And my wife was due like 2 days. She was going to be having this baby, so I was like trying to get home and get back and support her. But I called my coordinator, and originally I thought with the trailers, I thought she could take them anywhere. You know, what I was kind of, with I thought it was with the trucks that you had to come back, you know, to one of their approved sites. To get your truck inspected, but it turns out it is with the trailers as well. So you have to get those. So if you do a drop and hook, it could already been out. I mean, if they keep dropping them, like look at these guys, they get a trailer, then they know where the drop and hooks are, so they'll go get rid of it. So they don't never do the services. They don't the inspections could be 3 months out of date. Then as soon as you go do a drop and hook, you've already got to go get a trailer greasing done and an inspection done, or you're going to be out of service in a week. So I'd beware with doing drop and hooks there, because a lot of times these guys, they know, the other guys has been around for a while, they know when to get rid of the trailers, they know where to do the drop and hooks, so then that way they never have to deal with it. And then the poor guy that comes in that keeps a trailer for a month, I mean, the first 3 drop and hooks that I did there, every time they're about to get put out of service, and I went and I did everything, went and got them inspected, went and got them greased, then it's like, then I turn them in and I get another one that has to be done. But with like I said, I was trying to get back home from the West Coast, and I called the coordinator and told her, I was like, look, I just want to get this grease done, and I was like, by the way, I can go ahead and get the inspection done too. So I was down at the Petro. She's, oh yeah, go ahead and get it done. That's fine. You can get it done anywhere, is what she told me. So I get it done down there, and their calendar isn't set up, so I just paid for it. I mean, it was like $50 or $60 for the grease and for the inspection. So I get it all done, got in and out real quick. I was in and out there in like an hour. So I mean, first thing, I got there like 6 o'clock in the morning, nobody was there, so it was in and out. I was ecstatic about that. And then I sent everything in to her. I was like, here, I got everything done. Could you send it over to inspections and trailer for me? So I took pictures of it and emailed them to her. Then she calls me back about an hour later. She's like, oh yeah, I got all your stuff, but I kind of got a problem. Is you know, we'll give you the $20 for the grease, but we can't pay you for the trailer inspection because it wasn't done at one of our approved sites. And I said, okay, that's fine. And she's like, well, and you're gonna have to get the inspection done again. And I'm like, okay, I don't care about $30, $35, but I'm not gonna waste a couple hours and run around burning my fuel to go to one of your approved places and one of your approved sites per state to get a trailer inspection done. And what was worth, I mean, TA trucks are, I mean, they're national. I mean, I knew a guy that worked for TA that who works up at TSI Western Star now, and he said they're nationwide. They train all their people. And I mean, annual inspections are a national thing. I mean, it's the same credentials, the same what's the word? It's the same requirements anywhere you go. So I don't know why it makes a difference. But you know, she's like, well, there's the once she told me that I was going to have to get her done, she's like, well, there's the TA up in Lodi, which isn't too far from my house, so I can get down there. And I was like, well, that's okay. So I'm going to go up, leave my house with my truck, go pick up my trailer at my yard, run down there, probably sit down there for 2 or 3 hours, run back up on, I'm going to have 8 hours invested, you know, when I got a newborn baby at home, to getting this trailer inspected. I talked to my wife and about it, and I was actually, before I came back home, I was just going to go drop it, because I was down by Lexington, so I was going to run over to Louisville, drop the trailer off, and be done with it. But I was kind of in a hurry. I wanted to get back home that night because she was actually going to be induced labor the next day. So so I went home, and I ended up got a week late. The next week I got a load out of Akron, going back right down to where I was at, down south of Lexington, at the forklift plant down there, to Heister Yale, and which paid pretty well. And then after that, I just took the trailer over to Louisville and turned everything in, and I was in and out of there in about an hour, and no big deal. So, but that's my story with Mercer. If you're considering going over there, it might be a good place for you. I mean, if you're an aggressive owner-operator, an owner-driver, I would not recommend going there, because if you're wanting to move, and you're making good money, it seems like they want to slow you down. I mean, like it's as, I don't know, there's something that's a little bit off to me. So I mean, but if you're maybe you're doing this as a retirement thing, or you're not in a hurry, you just want to putt around, you don't mind sitting here for here and there 2 days, 3 days, or whatever. I mean, I've been to Vegas and some of these guys tell me, oh, I've been sitting here for 4 days waiting on the load, and I'm like, I mean, you can't ever get that time back. I mean, so it doesn't make any sense to me, unless you're waiting for something that's paying like $5 or $6 a mile. I mean, that's 2,000 miles, or 15. I mean, $6,000-7,000 load, I might make 2 or 3 days. But from what the rates that I've seen and what I've heard the guys, the loads are paying, there ain't no way I'm gonna wait 2 or 3 days somewhere for a load. I'd rather take something a little bit cheaper and keep moving and get back home. But that's my take. Like I said, I'm back over at Landstar now. I'm gonna do another little video here in the future, how that's going, and kind of what the process of coming over here looks, and the load board and all that type of stuff. But so keep an eye out for that. And so if you're looking to make a decision, I hope this helps you out. Thanks.